and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm your host, Lori LeBay, and I'm so excited that you're joining us today. We are going to have a fascinating conversation as usual as we learn from people all around the world at all ages and stages of life. Stay tuned as we shift our dementia care from crisis to comfort.
Here we go. What you think about, you will bring about dementia change. We will.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks. I'm your host, Lori LeBay, and we're going to have an exciting show today. This is an open mic. I never know who's going to show up, but it's always a really interesting conversation. Keep in mind, we do these once a month, and anyone is invited to come and share about a service, product, tool, an idea, an issue, whatever it might be. And all you have to do is reach out to me and I can get you that link. The only rule we have here is that we have a respectful conversation. So before I pull in all of our guests, I want to give a couple of shout outs. One is to Twiddle. Twiddle and actually Sunny both participated in an event I was in at Rakhma Homes. They were celebrating 40 years of service, which was really cool, and both donated product for people at the events, which was really neat. If you're not familiar with Sunny, they are a incontinence product that is absolutely superb. In fact, they have what they call a continence program. They want to get people back into life. And Twiddle has both sensory stimulation aids as well as a garment that works fantastic for people who have limited mobility or get aggressive trying to get dressed, put something on over their head. Everything can be done front and center and secures in the back. In fact, you can also visit Twiddle at 4twiddles.com and get a 25% off any of their products by just using the code AS25. That's AS25. I always encourage people to go and check out our website, alzheimerspeaks.com. We have a whole section of free educational resources, as well as our sister company, Dementia Map, which is a resource directory, has a blog, a calendar of events, and a glossary of terms. Both of those are for professionals and families alike. So, with that wrapping up, let's go ahead and see who's in the queue. Well, look who's behind the curtain. It's a wonderful wall of women. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. And welcome to Alzheimer Speaks in our open mic. I'm thrilled to have each of you. I know everybody has such unique perspectives in terms of how they approach dementia and how they're improving the world. So we're going to go kind of one by one and pull people in. And Ellen, I'm going to go to you first, if you don't mind. If you want to introduce yourself, you'll have to unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Thank you, Lori. Hi, everybody. All women, as she said, how remarkable. Although I suppose that Alzheimer's affects women more than men to date, and we don't know why, so it's not shocking that we're here on the forefront. So I'm Ellen Goodwin. I'm the co-founder of Artifcts.com, and we help people capture the memories and the history and the stories behind all that we collect and accumulate and inherit and will someday inherit. It's a lot of stuff, and we try and say we want to change our relationships to that stuff and to each other. And it was partly through my mother's own dementia journey, but also through just my passion for this area that we kind of stepped Artifacts into this world unexpectedly, or to everyone's surprise. We went through a pitch challenge and received funding for our first brain health study, which just got approved at the end of August. It will be launching very soon and we will be doing it with UMass Chem Medical School. And what we'll be doing is, because every artifact you create can combine photo, video, and audio to tell that story. So for example, I have an artifact that's my mother's recipe for coffee cake that she'd make every Christmas. And it's in her handwriting. And I tell the story about bringing it to Chicago. to my family for Christmas. But during COVID, when we couldn't visit, my mother showed my daughter by Zoom how to make it. And so inside the artifact, I have a video of them by Zoom showing how to do this one step of like, they're debating how much cinnamon and brown sugar should you really add to the stuffing. And my mother, with her dementia, she can't bake or cook anymore. And so kind of I preserved in time this moment when they were there together. My daughter was 10 and my mother was still cooking, and here they are on video. That video, because it has my mother's voice, would be great for this study. The study will have every participant, you have to be age 65 plus, create 5 artifacts, each artifact with your voice in it. That's it. And then you share it with the study team. And UMass Chem Medical has already developed a model that can pull out 14 biomarkers from your voice to detect changes in cognitive health. And so now the question is, instead of having to wait every 2 years for this cohort to come in for this health study that they were using their voice data from, what if it was as easy as sharing your artifacts at any point in time? I want a brain health screening. I want a checkup. How am I doing? You could do it every 6 months. You could do it every 4 months, however often you want. But the issue is, like my mother in rural Wisconsin, by the time she had gotten up the courage to go and get tested, then she had to wait for the screening and for the testing, right? So there was such a long lag during which she could have been treated. So what if we can make it more accessible and also flip that script and get people scanning their brain health at age 40, at age 45? It doesn't have to be at the point when it's too late in our kind of current circumstances, even though those are improving in dementia. So that is what we're about to launch. We just got the study approved. We have the flyer ready to go, and we'll be sending that out next week to recruit our participants. And that's kind of everything from Team Artifacts and Brain Health.
Wow, that is really a cool study, and it's in such a non-threatening way that you're doing this. It's pretty incredible. I mean, to be able to take the scary out is massively huge, in my opinion. And to make it something natural and something that's useful. I mean, it's not just I got to go to the doctor and I got to take a study, but something that could really, really work for people at any stage is very, very neat. So
there's a lot of excitement around that part of it. And even when I went to take care of my mother, my dad wanted to take a break. And so I went and was her caregiver for a week. I even made the discovery, she got stuck in Facebook. Facebook was telling her, oh, these are your friends. And they have all these foreign names. And I'm like, Mom, you don't know these people. Stop making friends on Facebook. No, right? And so I had to sidetrack her. I put her in Artifacts. I'm like, just go read great stories, But you're right. You create that artifact and not only will have that screening capability, but there's that connection and sharing those stories, which will last for always.
Oh, that's so neat. That's so neat. How do people, get to be part of the study? You want to, throw out your website and so forth there?
Yeah, so artifacts.com. And if you join our newsletter, we're going to be announcing it to all of our community, and we'll be sharing that next week. It'll be going out. We're also going to be sharing it with you, Lori, and Hilarity for Charity, Bringing Light to Alzheimer's, AARP Age Tech Collaborative that we're a part of. So all of our partners will receive this flyer to distribute as they see fit. But signing up for our newsletter on artifacts.com will guarantee that you're going to get an email from us about participating, and you can share it with friends, family, clients, whomever you deem appropriate for it. With this small scale study, I suspect, based on the interest we've already received, it's going to be overwhelming, but we're limiting it to 150 participants. But the idea will be to go into a full study next year, which UMass has already said they want to do with us. So this will be kind of the first step.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you, Ellen, for being with us and sharing that information. I really appreciate
My pleasure.
Thank you. Much. I'm going to go down to Paula next. And Paula, you want to introduce yourself and what you're up to?
Yeah, I'm Paula from MacPhail Center for Music. Actually, Kristen and I are here together. I don't know if it would work better for her to talk before me because she's got a bigger umbrella to cover, or if I should just talk about my part of things. But Kristen, what should we do?
Introduce a little bit our program and give you a little bit more background information before Paula jumps in with some of the specifics. So we're both from MacPhail Center for Music, and our project is actually all about voices also. So it's a good tie-in. And we are using voices to connect one another through music. We have been part of the Giving Voice Network and helped to build that model. And this year we have decided to separate a little bit so that we can help to build out choirs around the Twin Cities. So MacPhail is keeping our current choir that's been meeting at our downtown location, and we are planting a new choir in Lino Lakes area so that we can reach people in that area of the Twin Cities that are living with dementia and their care partners. Our program is really designed to build community. MacPhail's mission is to transform lives and strengthen communities through inspirational music learning experiences. And our choir is just a way for people to connect with one another and to build community. So we're looking for an opportunity for care partners to come together and to have a chance to be more equals within a setting where they're making music together, and to have more of that equal balance of, I don't know if we would say power or whatnot, and changing our roles from I'm your caregiver, I'm the one who needs help, to we're in this together and we're both choir members. And then we're looking to build community with partners who come in and sing. So we have volunteers that come to help throughout the experience. And we're looking to connect people who are going through a similar journey so that they can share and lift each other up and commiserate and share joys and successes along the way as well. So just really using music as the vehicle to help to transform lives and build community within this choir. And I'm going to let Paula tell a little bit about what sets our choir experience apart from others and how we adapt to make it more dementia friendly.
Okay, thanks, Kristen. So, what sets us apart? Well, I think there are so many wonderful benefits from singing, and it accesses a part of the brain that doesn't go away with dementia, and music is stored in a different part of the brain. And so it's just a wonderful experience when you can put people together, and especially when you're dealing with caregivers singing with their loved one and being able to reminisce, able to just have this sense of camaraderie instead of kind of the caregiver role that can sometimes feel a little burdensome. This brings real joy to people. And so I mean, music does that for people in general, but particularly with people with dementia, to have access to that piece of their memory that is still largely intact is such a special gift. And so we are not only connecting people into song and music and their memories, but we're connecting them to each other, both with their care partner, but also with everybody else in the chorus, and the sense of community that we build, and to their emotions, to the community, and to their music. And so that's what makes singing in a choir in this situation, I think, different from any other activity that you can engage in. So.
Yeah, I think one of the things I love so much about the choir is and I hear from so many people in my support groups who have been part of the choir, and what it does for them in terms of giving them purpose, being in a comfortable, fun setting, and then producing something at the end, for a concert, and how proud they are. And to me, it also, one thing you didn't mention, or if you did, I missed it, is busting stigmas of what's possible in terms of living well with dementia. I think that's so critically important, in being able to create these new friendships and feel purposeful and accepted. That is something we all want, dementia or not, in our life, and that's pretty fabulous. What you're doing. I know when the choir started initially, with the group you were partnering with here in the Twin Cities. I mean, it's just been amazing to see it grow, and it's been amazing to see how many people want in, and so I'm thrilled you guys are focusing, strictly here in the Twin Cities area, looking for new partners to expand, because I'm in Minnesota and I hear all the time, people are they're looking for that. And I think with any of the things that we talk about with dementia, I know sometimes there can be this proprietary thing that this is mine and I'm the only one that can do it. And I love the expansion of allowing others to enter the space, because I think there's so much, to be offered with that. So kudos to you guys, because again, I've been able to hear, I've never experienced one of the choirs, I'll be honest with that, or choruses. But the feedback I hear from people is just incredible, and they can't wipe the smile off their face while they're talking about it. It's pretty neat thing that you're doing. How can people get involved? Where do they go to register and learn more?
You can go to our MacPhail website, which is macphail.org, and it's MacPhail. We sneak that A in. Sometimes that throws people a little bit. And then you can just Google Connecting Voices Chorus, and it will direct you to a page with some more information and a link to sign up. People can be involved in a couple of different ways. One way is if they would like to participate as a dyad or a duo, then we ask for the person who's living with the disease to also partner with a family member or caregiver, so that it's really designed to be experienced together. So you can register in that way. If you are just a supporter from the community that would like to be involved, we also rely heavily on volunteers. And we love it when people come to volunteer to sing and help people find their places, find the right song in the music, that kind of thing. But we also need volunteers in the other capacities, whether it's welcoming people at the door, making sure that they have the materials that they need, just again, helping to build that community connection during that rehearsal time. So if you're interested in volunteering, you would also reach out. My information is on the website. I'll be handling that. So there are lots of different ways for people to get involved.
So does somebody have to start from the beginning, of the program, or can they step in midway? I would think that might be a little complicated.
Right. Well, we accept people during the first at least 4 weeks. But as you mentioned, we do work towards a culminating performance where we like to share what we've accomplished, so that family and friends are able to witness what we've been working towards as our goal. And again, to foster that sense of pride and that we really have purpose and meaning behind what we're doing as well. So because of that, we sometimes ask people to hold if they have found out about us after the 4-week period, because we're already partway into the semester. But we have different semesters throughout the year. So we're just starting up for fall, and our season will go through January and have a concert then. We'll take a little break, and then we'll restart in the new year, late February or March. So there are times to jump in if you kind of aren't sure. We also invite people just to come and check out a rehearsal, be part of it, see what it's like. And you're always welcome to sit in that way.
Okay. And is there a fee to join?
There is a fee with us because we are just covering the materials, and we provide practice resources as well, like CDs or MP3s, so that people can work on their music at home. So there is a slight fee, but there is tuition assistance that's also available.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Ellen, I should go back up to you. A lot of times people assume studies are free, but not all of them are. Is yours free?
Yes, our study is free.
Okay. But if somebody didn't want to participate in the study, but still wanted to do artifacts, they could do that as well. And what kind of opportunities are there for them in that case?
Yep. So you can go to artifacts.com. We took out an A. They have an extra A. We took out one, artifcts.com. And we have a few membership options. One, you can create artifacts for free, up to 5 of them, to give it a try, right? I tell people, if you work on your tablet, try it on your tablet. If you work on your phone, download our app, right? Work where you're comfortable. And then we have 2 membership options you can sign up for. There's a $45 a year for a limited 30 artifacts. And then there's an unlimited artifacting for $119 a year. And it also gives you 3 memberships to give away. So for example, my mom, she has dementia, she doesn't have credit cards anymore. I can give her a membership. My brother would throw everything in a dumpster. He gets a membership so that he can add on to my artifacts. Whoever needs that artifacts membership, you can expand and give them 3 extras. So the 119 is 4 memberships for unlimited artifacting.
Okay. And one question I just want to ask, can they share between one another?
Oh, absolutely. People share extensively, and it's a lot of fun because you can add a comment when you share it and they get that message. But it's also really interesting because when we were building artifacts, we took away, all the social media giants were on Capitol Hill defending themselves. And we're like, all right, that's it. No emojis, no view counts, no follow counts, no harsh commentary. Like, we took it all away. And we asked our members, do you wish you could at least have emojis? And they categorically said no, because you'll share an artifact, and if someone can just heart it and move on with their day, they don't get the phone call from their daughter that's like, I didn't know that. And they want the phone call. They want the text message. So yes, sharing is a big part of that experience.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thank you. Kristen and Paula, anything that you two want to add?
Last thing maybe is the training background of the people that are leading the program. I think that's really important to note as well. We have fantastic musicians at MacPhail, and we're very blessed to have such a rich community of professional musicians. But another thing that sets apart our program is the people that will be leading the sessions also have training and experience working with people who are living with dementia. So we know some of the best practices for engaging people and how to set up the rehearsal space, the materials, and our interactions to make them as comfortable and accessible as possible.
Could I add one more thing myself? In addition to having worked extensively with seniors in memory care situations with music, I have a very personal connection that drives my passion. And my dear mother-in-law gave me a master class in the meaning of music with people with dementia in the final days of her life. Just days before she passed away, I went to visit her in her memory care setting. And this was long before I ever got involved in this kind of work. I went in, and she had, for a long time, just didn't even really know who I was. She thought she was supposed to know who I was, but she knew she didn't know who I was. And I sat down next to her, and they were doing a music activity, singing along. And as I walked in, I noticed that she was perfectly conducting the music in time. This woman who didn't know my name could still respond to the beat of that music. And then as I sat down next to her and I began to sing, she looked over at me and a light went on. And for that moment, she knew who I was from the sound of my singing voice. And that kind of blew me away. And then a little while later, as we were sitting and she was sipping her Ensure for lunch, they had hymns playing in the background, and they had the words projected up on the screen, and she had her back to the screen. And this woman, 5 days before she passed away, was sitting, singing every word to every hymn, every verse was all still there days before she passed. So that was such a powerful experience to me that when I ended up getting the opportunity to start working with people with dementia, I said, yes, sign me up. I need to know more about this. So I come from a place of deep personal connection to this as well. And I think that hopefully translates into the way that we approach the music in the choirs as well.
Wonderful. That's a great story for people to hear. And I know with my mom, we had similar experience with her in music, how she would just come alive. And, there's been so many studies out, but still the general population doesn't know that information. So, we need to keep raising the voice. I'll give a shout out to Choral Health too, who has dedicated patented music that in their studies show enlonged engagement and increased cognitive ability after listening to their music, which is really cool too. So yeah, there's lots of different things out there. So thank you, ladies. Lori, I'm going to go to you next. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Lori Yelp, and I am the founder of a website, meaningfulmemorymaker.com. I'm a speech pathologist by trade, have been a speech pathologist for 33 years. 23 of those years have been as an author and clinician specializing in dementia care. And I'm really, really happy to be here. And I thank you, Lori, for having me back. We've met once before, and I thank you for having me back. And I'm just so pleased to be in amongst people who understand the essence of reminiscence and the joy and the abilities that can be seen and the communication that can be prompted through reminiscing and music. And I firmly believe that everyone has the power to reminisce in all kinds of fashions, and all of the products at meaningfulmemorymaker.com have reminiscing in mind, from the flagship product, which is called Movies and Music, which is a guidebook to using classic movie musicals as a catalyst to promote communication and engagement for those who are experiencing dementia at almost all levels. And it's so interesting that Paula mentioned the idea that her family member was able to continue to sing and react 5 days before her passing, because when I used to teach, or I used to run movies and music with an activity director friend of mine, we noticed that from the highest level folks who could still communicate and converse to the lowest level folks who could only sing, if we brought them into movies and music and showed them movies like Singing in the Rain or Meet Me in St. Louis, if they couldn't do anything else, they could sing those songs. And for those others who could communicate and reminisce, they were communicating with their neighbors, they were finding common ground. Oh, I used to date a guy that looked like that, or my grandmother had a cistern like the one in Meet Me in St. Louis. So lots and lots of reminiscing came out of that product. And as I began to find the joy in that activity, I happened to get back in contact with a friend of mine who is a retired OT, and her mother was going through some cognitive communication changes. So she had put together a book of her mother's wants and needs, and things that she needed, or things that she wanted, or things that would make her comfortable that she could no longer express. And she came to me with the idea of putting this together in a book. And I said, well, if we bring pictures to it, then you'll have a complete book of wants, needs, desires to provide effective caregiving. And you'll also have the idea of reminiscing, so that caregivers can now interact with their care receiver on much more deeper of a level. Not just, I have to take care of the lady in 202, but the lady in 202 is now Martha, and Martha has a story. And isn't that wonderful that I can now get to know her at her level and understand a lot more of what she needs, what she wants, but more so of what she was like. And then from there, there's a couple other products that have to do with familial reminiscing. After the success of the About books, my mother passed away, and we were getting ready for her memorial service. And my sister sitting at the table with 15 family albums, and she gets up to 1984, and she's like, "Oh, great, I'm almost done." We realized that we had 40 years to go. And I said to my family, wouldn't it be great if we had the opportunity to put one book together with all of her history or all of our history together. And so that when we want to get together and we want to reminisce, we only have to pull out one book that tells our family story. And I thought, isn't that a great idea? So I started doing it. I've done it for a few families. I probably published half a dozen or more. And the families who are involved in it just really have this sense of connection through the generations, and it brings the oldest generation to the youngest generation together, and it helps build that family legacy that I think is so important and can get lost along the way with all kinds of changes. And the last product that we have at meaningfulmemorymaker.com is the video greeting, and that came out of the pandemic. My brother and I are really good gift givers. We enjoy exchanging gifts, and in 2020, my brother said, no, we're not exchanging gifts because it's the pandemic and neither of us have any money. But I like to give gifts, so I combed through some digital photographs, found a nice piece of music, and I put together a video greeting for his birthday, and he was very moved by it. And I began to discover that even those kinds of things, video greetings for any occasion, whether it's birthday, anniversary, memorial event, and again, have the ability to bring generations together and can help to promote a healthy legacy.
Oh, that's wonderful. You've got, a few different avenues with the movies and the entertainment to the books and the legacy, to the video pieces, which can be used in a lot of different ways. Yeah. So how do people find you, Lori?
You can find me at meaningfulmemorymaker.com.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Leif, I'm going to have you, have you introduce yourself, if you don't mind, and tell us what you're up to.
Yes, my name is Leif Johnson. I'm the executive director of Rakhma Homes. First, I want to just start by again plugging Giving Voice. Rakhma we just had our 40th anniversary, and I'll share a little bit about that in a minute. But there was one of our former family members showed up with his purple Giving Voice shirt on and his purple hat, and I was really surprised to learn that he said 7 choruses now and a Spanish-speaking one, and it's just been such a gift for our residents to be involved there. And even I know one of our residents came back with a DVD. This was several years ago, and we would put it on, every few nights, and it was such a gift to her, and she'd be so proud watching that, and the residents would all sit around and watch the performance. So Paula and Kristen, you do wonderful work and big supporters. So, but yeah, Rakhma Homes, we, like I mentioned, we were founded in 1984, so in our 40th year, we have 3 assisted living homes, smaller residential homes. We have one in Minnetonka, which is co-ed with 14 beds, one in South Minneapolis, which is all female with 10 beds, and then one in the Mac Groveland neighborhood of St. Paul, which is 10 beds, and that one is co-ed. And so we're very firmly residential, and we're kind of residential memory care nerds at Rakhma. We're really into the model. And a few unique things about us, we're very highly customized. We were person-centered before that became industry jargon. We've been working with life story and customizing every element of the routine since our start. And then the other really important thing to note about Rakhma is we do not discriminate against anybody against their ability to pay out of pocket. And so currently we work with about 85% individuals on waivers, and that is almost unheard of, especially within the residential memory care sector. You may find places with 1 or 2 waiver beds, but there's a minimum private pay requirement of a few years or something like that. But we accept waivers on day one. So it's really opening up the residential space, the smaller, intimate residential space to anyone. And so that's what I feel is one of the most important things that we do. So as a result, we have a really diverse mix of residents coming from, those people whose private funds will never run out, to pulling people out of jails, hospitals, nursing homes, institutional settings, and giving them a really intimate and warm place to live and receive memory care. So, but yeah, and we just had our this past Saturday had our 40th anniversary celebration, and Lori was one of our, we had a Q&A session with Lori as well as Janelle Johnson. And it was a great melding of 2 really wonderful dementia experts. And so they answered a bunch of questions, and everybody came away just really thrilled by the knowledge that they got from that event. So, but yeah, and right now we're in our 40th year. We're really trying to reestablish our volunteer base. COVID, we used to have a very thriving volunteer program, and there was someone on every day of the week. And so but COVID put a dent into that. So one plug I'll give is if you know of anybody who'd like to volunteer, you can go to rakhma.org. That's RAKHMA.org. And then we're also, as you may imagine, with working with the number of waivers we do, there's not a lot of overhead, and we're just a small mission-driven nonprofit. So we have a big giving push this year, and so it's called our 2024 Circle of Giving. And so if you're looking to put money into a really good cause, we would be very appreciative. And again, you can go to our website, rakhma.org. So.
Yeah, I'll just add on to the type of work you do. We hear person-centered a lot, and I personally don't even like that term, because I think so often it's overused and underdelivered. But Rakhma really does step in, step up. Lef was on the show a while back and had some families talk about the work that they do, and I mean, just the personalization was so exceptional. I mean, it was kind of mind-blowing that a company would care that much. The one that really sticks out to me, and there were so many examples, but the daughter who said, when my mom showed up, in her room were her favorite flowers. They did that intake and they wanted something, precious. And she said in the whole first week she was there, it was all her favorite foods, and we just don't hear those types of things. But it was just one thing after another, and it was all different types of situations. So there were spouses and partners and kids all, just raving about what you do. And when I was at the event just this last Saturday, I was so impressed with all your staff coming by, and you could just feel their heart. And so often we don't see that as much as we used to in healthcare. That's changed significantly. And the variety of culture and acceptance was just profound. I mean, it just really, you could see it, you could feel it, and there was just this cohesion. And then you had the Girl Scouts out there and the young kids, and I mean, it was just intergenerational. And the music played, and you had your walk, and it was a lot of work you put together to pull that off. But I thought that everyone felt your essence and was thrilled to be there to celebrate 40 years of really this holistic approach that was started way before we even talked or used the word holistic, in a regular fashion in terms of healthcare there. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you. And I know you mentioned when we were on the podcast previously, and that family member used the term "queen for a day" is how we treated her mother. And so we now use that podcast as part of our orientation to say this is the standard, and it's not just when you're admitted. You're thinking about how to make them queen or king for the day every day, and using all of their favorites, all of their preferences, and incorporating that into everything we do. So
Yeah. Well, and I have to give a shout out to Sunny, who had incontinence products that we gave away, and Twiddle, who gave their a couple of their sensory stimulation little muffs that were just fabulous. In fact, one little girl, we did a drawing, and somebody won one, and they're like, "Where's that little girl?" Because she picked up the cat muff, and she was maybe 6, 7 years old, and she's like, "Dad, can we buy this?" She just wanted this little cat muff. And they're like little fidget toys. And so the woman who won, Kelly, said, "Where's that little girl? She's getting this cat." And she was just ecstatic. She went running around and was so thrilled and stuff. So, you bring joy to a lot of levels, to a lot of people in a lot of different ways, which is pretty cool. So again, how do people get a hold of you again? Is there just the website? Is that the best spot?
yeah, so the website, and I'll spell it. It's a strangely spelled word, rakhma.org. And you can find information about everything on there.
Okay, wonderful. Well, it doesn't look like we have anybody else in the queue, so it's just us. Well, then we'll go ahead and wrap up. I appreciate all your time and sharing your information. Let's do one more round of just contact information. Leaf just gave us his. Christine, do you want to give us your website again?
It's www.MacPhail, MacPhail.org.
Okay, wonderful. And Lori?
meaningfulmemorymaker.com.
Okay. And Ellen?
I just popped in the chat. It's just ellen@artifacts.com without the second A.
Okay, wonderful. And then the website itself would be artifacts.com without
Correct.
that second A. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining us today. People really appreciate, they love these open mics because they get such a variety of information. And I would encourage you to reach out to everybody here because they all have fabulous services that are at the ready for you. So, and feel free to share them. That's one of the, I think, most difficult things for any family, especially stepping into a diagnosis of dementia, is they don't know what's available, where to go, what to ask for. And, when you think about this, out of everything that's here, the only thing you would think to know about when the time was right was probably a community. But people would not suspect that there's small group homes like yours. They see these big towering apartments, all over the place, and they don't know that. And, people don't think about being part of a choir because we've been told they're not capable. They're not able anymore. And then, with Ellen and Lori both, in terms of preserving legacy and reminiscing and just, I can't even say everything because there's so many levels to all of that in terms of the inclusion in the way that you can use both of your products there. So again, thank you everyone, and feel free also to check out alzheimerspeaks.com and Dementia Map for additional information and resources that we have. Until next time, bye now.